Hi, I'm Lisa from Lori's Country Cottage. Welcome to How Tuesday. Today I'm going to show you how to make a really simple seasonal table topper with either traditional borders or these fun overlapping borders. Join me. All right, let me show you a quick method for creating the octagon for the center of your super easy seasonal table topper. Start with the fat quarter. This is my salvage on this side. Take this corner and fold it up so that these edges match. I've just made the largest square possible out of that fabric. Now take this top point and fold it along itself, matching the points down here. And now you have two folded edges lined up. Take this point, the edge with the double fold, and fold it so that it stacks on top of that single fold. There we go. Now just take a second to make sure all those folds line up and that you don't have a big wrinkle on your fold here. Now you can feel where your fabric is stacked up inside here. And you have choices how big to make your octagon table topper. So my fold is here. I could go as big as 9.5 inches, but I kind of like the 9-inch size. It gives me about a 16-inch center for my table topper. So I'm going to measure 9 inches and make a mark. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this side. So 9 inches from the point and make a mark. Now I'll take my rotary cutter and my ruler. I'll use the ruler to match those two 9-inch marks that I made and use my rotary cutter to make my slice. And then I have a fast and easy octagon for the start of my table topper. Now, I could do something as easy as just adding borders to my octagon. You would add on these two sides and these two sides trim, and then add these two, and boom, your table topper's done. For this table topper, I'm simply going to layer it with backing and batting, stitch around, leave a hole to turn, and I'm going to turn it. I'm not going to bind this one. It's super easy and fun and fast. But for my watermelon fabric, I'd like to do something kind of neat. We didn't get a border print with the watermelon fabric, but if you had a border print, this border application is really fun and different. We're going to put the borders on kind of backwards and create an overlap and a layer. Because we didn't have a border print, I'm going to create a border by piecing my cream color or rind with the green outside of my watermelon, and I'm going to create a pieced border. So I'm going to go ahead and sew my strips together, and then I'll come back and show you how we put them on. All right, here I am ready to sew on my border strips. The first thing I did was make my strip set. Because I don't have a border stripe, I made my own border stripe. If you're using a border print, you don't need to do this. Then I cut my strips to the appropriate length. So what's the right length to cut them? Well, you do a lot of trimming, so oversizing is nice. But the formula is to take the length of your side and add twice the finished size of your border. And that'll give you enough fabric. If you do the length of your side plus twice the cut size of your strip, you'll have lots extra and a little bit of leeway. So let me show you how it's done. We're going to start on the first side, And instead of matching this point to the point on my edge, I'm going to give myself a 1/4 inch. That allows for my seam allowance. And I'm going to stitch with my regular, there goes my bobbin, scant 1/4 inch seam allowance. And I'm going to stop 1 inch away from the end. You can give yourself a bit more room if you like, but 1 inch will do the job. All right, I'm just going to swivel my chair. My bobbin's running out. Swivel my chair and give that a press. So here is my border sewed on. Here's the gap that we left, and I need to trim this along this edge. So I simply take my ruler, line it along that edge. So we're working counterclockwise instead of clockwise. Normally we would go the direction of the clock. We're going counterclockwise. So that removes that little tail. I'm going to move the board out of the way. And now I can take my next piece, and it starts again a 1/4 inch from the end. And I can stitch. And now I'm going to stitch all the way past. Okay, then I'm going to give that a press and show you what it looks like. There we go. So the second side is on. So now I'm going to continue on. I'm going to trim here and just keep adding my pieces till I get back to that starting position. And then I'll come back and show you how we finish it off. All right, I'm back. I've got my other sides on. Here is the last edge I need to put a border on. And here's where we started. And we left that 1 inch open. Here's why. We need to fold that out of the way so that I can stitch this on. And don't forget to start with your border strip about a 1/4 inch overlapping the corner of that side. And I'm just going to stitch this on and then show you how we finish up. All right, let me give that a press. All right, here's where we are. Now we need for this first strip to overlap the last strip that we joined. So again, I need to trim this off. So I'm going to fold these back. Grab my ruler and my rotary cutter. Make sure I'm on the mat. And use that seam as my guide. And trim that little tail off so that I have a straight line to follow. And now I'll go back where I stopped stitching. Put my needle down. I give myself about a 1/4 inch overlap. There we go. Line up this last border piece and stitch it till the end. And now, when I press, my borders will all look the same. I'm going to press it, and then we'll meet back at my cutting table and trim off all these extra tails. All right, here I am with my table topper. All I need to do is trim off these pokey tails. So just take your ruler, line it up with the outside of the border, or even with your seam line. I kind of look at both when I'm doing it, and trim off those tails. You won't be able to tell where you started and where you ended, and that's the whole point of it. Now that it's all trimmed up, there's my watermelon topper. I love it. This one I will put binding on. I've got black watermelon seeds. Thanks for joining me for How Tuesday. I hope you'll try making a simple seasonal table topper. You can make one for every season or personalize it for gift giving. Thanks for joining me.